Welcome back to the final match of the men's singles, the men's singles final between Yining Wang from New South Wales, player to cause an upset, taking down Olympian Fin Lu, the #1 seed, 3-1. And he will be playing against a player from Western Australia, Yonis Shu.
And of course, Yonis making his way here. After really, this is his first year playing in Australia. I believe he's a provincial player from out of China, and from what I understand, he's over here for his studies and making waves, playing at nationals earlier this year.
Yeah, indeed. Would say a very common thing. A lot of players coming to Australia for that study, and we get to see them at this this big stage at the national level. Of course, both players fighting for that title to be the men's singles champion here at the Table Tennis Australia tournament in Brisbane. TTA Brisbane, we're ready for game #1 of this best-of-5 match. Yining to serve, Lovell. A good serve to start it off.
Heavy serves on that one. Certainly going to be interesting from here, Yonis, with some, from what I've seen so far. Comfortable playing from the middle of the table on both wings.
Oh, what a rally to start off the second point.
Really keen to see Yonis' serve on the big stage here. He's got some pretty nasty spin on there from what I've seen so far, Andrew. I can see how Yining handles it.
Oh, really well caught. The serve and third ball that's set up.
Absolutely devastating.
Oh, well found into that body. Really moving to that center forehand. Both players contorting their bodies to try and get those forehand exchanges.
No backhands allowed.
You have a whole table. Why use a backhand? Very good tight serve. Short to the middle, actually, the center line.
Attacking the middle again there from Yining, working so well for him in his previous semi-final. Strong tactic.
Both players taking the initiative from the serve at third ball. Very well placed. The short, heavy topspin. Keeping the serve different every time. The deception. Very nice slow ball to the forehand.
Yeah, well handled there from Yining. That ball was moving away and having to sort of move his body around from the middle of the table, but well handled.
Bit of fortune, but still the placement, the idea there is commendable. And both players really doing well with their serve and third ball.
Yonis really looking to take his receive with his backhand no matter where that ball goes. You see him moving very early in that point.
So it's something very common with a lot of left-handed players. You see people like Nicholas Lum or the world #1 Wang Jujin. Oh, I mean, that is fantastic. The change of pace, you can just see Yining setting himself up for those balls, taking them as early as possible and slightly waiting, fishing the ball a bit.
Also looking to inch forward as well when he was forced back, not relenting and trying to get his position back at the front of the table. Oh, fantastic movement and counter there from Yonis.
I mean, taken so early, but it wasn't just put on the table. It had a purpose of where it was going. Right on that deep forehand. You can hear as the ball hitting the bat, the hurricane.
Absolutely. When it makes that right contact, it certainly makes a very familiar noise to table tennis players.
Both players using them. A crackling sound.
My understanding, of course, is that Yonis is using Hurricane on both sides, which is a reasonably new way of playing by a lot of the Chinese players and the Chinese national team. You're starting to see a lot of the Chinese national team Hurricane on both sides. What you'll find, however, on the red side of the rubber is potentially a slighter softer degree of sponge. So you will find potentially maybe 41 degrees on the forehand and the black rubber with their blue sponge of Hurricane, and maybe a 39 or 38 degree on the backhand to give them that little bit of softness and ability to sort of hit through a little bit more. Let the ball dig in a little bit.
So many different types of rubbers, all for the different playing styles. Oh, I wish that went on. Wouldn't that have been an absolute wicked shot?
When you're 10-5 up and you're in that position, I completely understand why he went for that shot. I'm sure in other moments he may not have gone for as much.
Now in a very, very good position here for game points.
Really controlling that middle of the table very well.
Oh, well found. The wide forehand, and I mean that's the thing of these lefty versus righty matchups, is the side spin is such a killer in the matchup. You see Yining being able to hook that backhand, really getting it out wide and testing the footwork of Yonis, taking the first game 11-6.
Beautiful preparatory work for that backhand as well. He really moved his body in that right position, dropped that bat right down and just went around and back and over. Really beautiful to watch.
Of course, so much more to come as we will be leading into our game number 2. Both players taking their time to process the first game, the tactics from their coaches.
Different tactic from Wang, of course, this time as well. Losing the first game last time and then coming in strong. This time around, however, I believe both of these players are a little more familiar with each other. So a little bit less of that searching like he was doing against Finn and really just going out there and playing his tactic the way that he needed to do it.
Exactly. Now both players ready for game number 2. And Shu with the serve. Second game. Double.
Attacking that backhand again. Yining Wang probably going to need to hold his position a little bit better rather than floating back on that table there. Again, forced back off the table and not in a position to use his power to his advantage. Strong spin there from Yonis.
Good change of pace. The slower ball really getting, or punishing Wang for not being that slight bit closer to the table. I mean, to try and overextend, the contact is not working.
Beautiful pivot there, but Yonis ruining his missed error and from that float up on his push backhand.
Of course, in these matches, the down the line and the cross court are the two biggest and most important parts. The switch up between the two. I mean, he did so well to stay in that point.
Yeah, keeping himself alive as long as possible, absolutely, but just not quite enough, and Yining really not relenting either, refusing to back down.
The footwork of these two players, another level. I wish.
Change of pace again, causing a bit of difficulty there for Yonis. Stepping back to expect a ball coming towards him, that ball dropping very slow.
Oh, very good serve now to take that lead. And Yining doing very, very well to stay composed, regardless of the situation.
Great change of direction there from Yonis. They're really trying, like, knowing that he was on the counter, just making sure that Yining had to work and move for every shot that he hit there, forcing the error.
4 apiece. Yonis with the serve.
Beautiful placement deep into the backhand corner there.
The placement so good from Yining. I mean, you can see that tactical mind.
A coach's mind, we might say.
Exactly. Everything with purpose.
Beautiful placement again. I mean, Yonis has got some unbelievable ability to move that ball around and counter hit. However, Yining is just putting that much power and pace on the ball and playing it so deep in the table that he's not being given those opportunities.
And I mean, in particular, really that step around on the backhand side, getting it down the line. Of course, a forehand to that point, it's very awkward to get with a backhand. I mean, usually you're used to some form of a side spin coming into your bat. Oh. Wow. Oh, that was absolutely incredible. I mean, Yining really trying to get it out wide.
Just really searching for that opportunity to get one shot that he could hit rather than having to fight for it. But Yonis just too powerful into his backhand corner.
I mean, the placement really getting it out wide to that forehand. I mean, that's what he's going to have to do more of. He's going to have to really push Yining's footwork.
He's certainly not gonna win by playing passively, that's for sure. Not going to work with this level of play.
And I mean, I wouldn't say the serves are anything in particular special in terms of deception, but they still work because of where he's putting them.
Absolutely. And the spin, even though it's visible, tactically doesn't give you much to work with, unfortunately. So Yonis realistically looking to try and find those opportunities early in the point, but Yining just not giving those balls in the place that he wants it.
I mean,
unbelievable.
The way he moves, 11-6, 2 games up. I mean, he is in such a commanding position right now. He is just not letting anything get past him. Doesn't matter where you put it.
And we're starting to see, of course, Yining really swinging on his backhand, which we weren't seeing too much earlier on. But because of that body position and that little bit of a float back from where we were seeing before, he's really winding up on that backhand and looking for those wide angles, actually sending it out wide to Yonis' forward.
Of course, the importance with all those shots is the way he rotates with his waist. The idea here from the Chinese philosophy, the power from the ground, and really using those legs and that rotation, I guess, for the left-handed players from the right leg to the left leg to generate that speed that we see even when out of position.
Absolutely fantastic. And the ability to get low, of course, to use not your arm but your whole body to get low, rather than dropping the elbow down and trying to pick it up from there, using your whole body to lift it and using your strength in every shot. Now,
the third game, Yining up by 2 games, and Yonis has a lot to fight for here. And he has a lot to make up for, but as I always say, it is never over until the final point is played. And that is the fighting spirit we hope to see here. And more importantly, it'll be interesting to see the tactical change that Yonis has.
Absolutely. Well, we saw on that last point there, he took that earlier than he had been. Yining didn't quite get the opportunity to move into hitting his backhand like he wanted to. We may see a little bit more of that now. And even though that hit the net tactically, that was the same thing. Really looking to come into the ball and take it that little bit earlier.
A good change of serves now. The serves being more effective than the previous 2 games to lead by 4. Punishing the weak return. Another good serves. I mean, his backspin serves are really heavy. A lot of players struggling with it. Struggling to lift the ball.
Of course, and of course what you're wanting to be able to do with those backspin serve is flick them back and don't get caught playing a pushback unless you can control it short. But Yining really holding that table very, very well. So Yonis needs to attack those backspin serves, needs to flick them.
Alternatively, short to the forehand. And
get your range right, and it's a very, very good tactic for sure.
Yeah. Test Yining's forehand flick. I mean, we've seen it, but how consistent is it truly? Oh, yes, that's the point of the match, and I would argue that is the point of the tournament.
I think we've been upstaged, guys. That was fantastic. Yonis getting back a nearly impossible ball to bring himself back into that point. Fantastic table tennis.
That was world class, I would say. Absolutely world class. Oh, a bit of fortune. But I will mention, Yonis in a much better position here. I'd say adjusting a lot more and his shots working better. And he is finding ways to be able to shut down Yining's shots.
Looks like it's a timing factor here, mate. It's certainly taking the ball a little bit earlier, placing that ball a little bit more off the bounce and taking Yining's time away from him as much as he can. Again, taking his time off him. Placing that ball quite deep on the table as well. Yining likes to move back and take those longer balls and counter-attack them, but if the ball is too long, it's certainly not going to come in a way that works nicely for you.
Bit of fortune to get him into the point, but still well played. And I'd say the other thing is, I would say Yonis is starting to get a bit lower as well and spinning that first ball. 2 points away from taking the third game.
Oh, returning that little bit of karma back.
Lightning fast reflexes from both players.
Really fantastic move, and again there from Yining, really refusing to hold his position back. If he was forced back on one shot, you see those feet shuffle straight back forward again.
A good serve now. 2 points, or rather 3 points, in the right direction. Still a long ways to go if he's to try and claim this game. Yonis with the serve, 2 points away from claiming the third game and putting himself on the scoreboard. It just keeps getting better. The way he was able to get those balls from his middle, I mean, the level is increasing, and I'm loving to see it.
Certainly the way you want to say it, you never, ever give up on a point. Look for every opportunity to keep the point going, and then look for an opportunity to bring yourself back. The point is not over until the ball hits the floor.
Exactly. I mean, this is everything you could ask for in a men's singles finals. How does he get those balls? Gosh, I'd be in hospital if I was trying to get those types of shots.
I could do it once, probably just never again after that.
I mean, that is the flexibility of these players.
Of course, if you're working on your table tennis at junior, definitely something that you really need to work on. It's less about strength and more about your ability to move and activate that strength with your flexibility.
Yonis here doing very well to get these 3 game points.
He had a big lead with Yining really forcing this game into something a bit closer than it was before. A crucial serve and point there.
It'll be interesting to see if the next point's lost, if Yonis will call a timeout.
I wouldn't be surprised. It would probably be a reasonably smart tactical move after being so far ahead. I think 9-3, I think, Andrew.
It was indeed 9-3. Comebacks, we love to see it. But a comeback, it won't be 11-8 in the third game. And I would say the best game of the match so far. It just keeps leveling up like a video game. I mean, Yonis starting to find his form.
Absolutely, and now we're really looking at both players finding their feet. And realistically, Yining Wang needing to keep his form and keep his flexibility and feet that he's had so consistently going.
For those confused about what's happening there, each player is only allowed 1 coach.
Absolutely. 1 coach in the corner allowed to talk to the players.
The only exception being team events, and that is because you have, of course, your teammates to be able to talk to you as well, but still only technically, well, not technically, only 1 official coach allowed.
Absolutely.
Players now back for game number 4. And Yonis starting to creep back in, finding his form. And I mean, the rally is just getting longer and longer. That's what we love to see now. Yonis with the serve, trailing by 1 game.
Beautiful early timing there from Yonis, getting back from the table as soon as he can.
Short tops and serves working really well as well. That's 2 for 2.
Just short enough so that second bounce is in an uncomfortable position.
Exactly, and of course, with those serves, finding ways to make your opponent hesitant, which is not an easy task to do, certainly at this level.
Absolutely. One of the terms I like to use with my players in the club is uncertainty is a weapon.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful spin there from Yining Wang, keeping himself in this game. Very, very heavy on the top spin.
Of course, it's always fun to rip those balls as hard as possible, but there is just as much importance with the slower, heavy spin. The player that comes to mind who is a master at that, Timber Ball.
Absolutely, being able to change the pace from anywhere on the court.
Also a left-handed player.
It's the way to be.
Oh, well caught. I mean, most players I'd say at a lower level would go for a backhand, but Yonis just saying, nah, I like my forehand. Why not we just use that instead? Paying off here.
Bending like a pretzel to be able to return that one back over. Fantastic movement.
I mean, that serve is working so well for him.
Absolutely. I'm getting realistically needing to change how and where he's placing that serve, because Yonis keeps returning to it. And
the importance of why you should be practicing your serves. Both players taking full advantage of theirs.
great deception there from Yining Wang.
Never gives up, doesn't matter how far behind he is. 4-all.
Table tennis is a game of opportunities, so the more you are searching for them and the more they are front of mind that you are going for your opportunities, the more they will come.
Oh, it was there.
He was looking for it, like I said, looking for that opportunity. Even though he lost that point, you can take confidence away from a moment like that. A strong forehand from Yonis, though.
Excellent rotation in the waist. Generate the power. Oh, I think you could see a a little bit of a sigh of relief that the ball did not come back, especially how close it was to the net. Would have been a bit anticlimactic if it rolled over.
Yining had certainly read the shot. He just hadn't quite been able to manoeuvre his body into the right position there. Of course, after a big semi-final and a lot of work in this match, it's certainly a test of fitness.
Indeed. You're saying about opportunity, of course, one of the important as the opponent is to find ways of stealing that opportunity and preventing the opponent from having it.
Strong backhand there from Yining to bring it back to 6-all now. Anybody's game at this point, of course. Still, both players still having their timeouts in the bag there, as far as I know. Or no, wait, no.
No, both players still had their timeouts. Indeed, we did not see one in the previous game.
Plenty more in this match yet.
And that's the hesitation.
That's that topspin serve we were talking about. I feel like Yining almost wants that backspin serve just one time to come over so he can do what he wants to do. Still unable to control the short topspin serve.
Of course, at a level like this, there is no room for hesitation, or you will be punished. Oh, I mean, look how low he's getting, but a bit of fortune.
Absolutely. Using his legs to really take that absorption. Getting down low, bending, but then twisting to absorb that ball. Fantastic.
It's very interesting to see the two different styles of the players. Yonis controlling more in those aggressive games before getting into the counter top spin, whereas Yining more likely to try and counter loop, use more wrist. 8 apiece.
Back on serve. Back edge there. That first backhand flick very, very well placed to put Yonis in an uncomfortable position. We were looking at one of those extended rallies happening again, but just clipping the edge on the way through to get himself in the front for the first time this match. This game, sorry.
And of course, the ones at this point in the match can be pretty hard to deal with mentally. See if Yonis can refocus. Oh, yeah. That is, yeah, that's table tennis for you.
That's an edge followed by an even softer edge just to make sure. But when the points extend, the probability of an edge or a net happening increases with every shot.
Indeed, fortune part of the game. Bit of a protagonist moment, I guess I'd say. And what a beautiful point to finish the match. Yining staying in full control despite the net against him, winning the men's singles title 3-1, 11-8. A very, very exciting match. A bit of fortune to end for Yining with those 2 points, but he got himself into that position in the first place, so you can't let it all fall upon the lucky as there.
Absolutely, and of course, as far as I'm aware, Yining's first big TTA level tournament and his first win. So going through unscathed, absolutely fantastic for the player from New South Wales. Certainly looking forward to seeing him take the table a little bit more often rather than just in the coach's corner. What an absolute delight it was to be able to commentate such fantastic games here at the Brisbane Table Tennis Club.
Indeed, it's a name to look out for. We thank you for joining us for this match. The men's singles finals concluded. 2 fantastic players and such a fantastic, I would say, world-class level. We thank you for joining us. We'll see you again in the future.